AchieveRadio.com. A new drummer for a new awakening.
Across the realms and around the world, welcome to Outside the Box. Tonight, your host and vessel of spirit is Nancy Zilversmit. We hope that you will learn to have the strength and courage to step outside the box and dwell with spirit, and to leave the old beliefs that hold you down behind you and rediscover your spirituality in new ways. Hello, this is August 5th. 2015, and today we're doing readings. If you are listening and you wish to call in quick, however you wish to do that, go ahead and we will do readings today. If readings do not happen, I have subject matter, so we can do that at any point. So what I'm looking for right now is any callers that want to call in. I do have a reading that was requested off of Facebook, and this one is one that is been requested for a friend of hers whose dog cried so much before it passed away. The vet couldn't find anything wrong with him, and he cried every day, and he had to take strong pain meds, and they didn't know what was wrong with this dog. So if you have an animal, and I've had animals who've died at home who were very old, and you could tell that they were having some issues with pain also. When I asked Spirit about this question, because this question came in yesterday, and I asked Spirit about this question early this morning, a lot of energy came in, Spirit came in, and they basically told me, you know what's going on. Okay, so when an animal is getting ready to pass, and the same goes with some humans as well, not all, but some, and with some animals, not all. The body starts a shutdown. The blood system is not replicating. The whole system of the body is no longer replicating the cells, and it can get painful. There can be joint pain, muscle pain. The oxygen is not getting where it needs to go. I know that when we had animals at home that were dying, it was painful for them to get up and move around. They were starting to waste away, and sometimes they didn't waste away. They were just they were getting to the point where the cells that you need for replication, in order for the body to continue to go on with itself, cells are dying and they're not being replaced. And it's been a proven fact with science, and the cells that we have in our DNA gets shorter and shorter as we get older and older. And the code that we're required to have in order for the cells to replicate, when it gets down to the final piece that just doesn't replicate anymore, and the body starts to hurt. That's why an animal will be in a lot of pain. The doctor can't do anything except make them comfortable. We find this also with some human beings as well. And so it's not just in the animal realm. It's if you are a living creature and you get to the point where your DNA and your cellular structure is no longer replicating, the body is going to start to either waste away, or it will have pain. It will have pain because there is nothing more that can be done with it, and they will waste away. Sometimes they do cry. The last two animals that I had that died were cats, and they were, one was 12, one was 16, and they both, they would walk around crying. And there was no way you could comfort them, okay? Even when you were petting them and taking care of them, and they would purr, and they were still in pain. They were still crying. Okay. There was nothing that could be done for them. We allowed our animals to pass away at home because of the age also. And also the expense of taking to a vet just to put an animal down has risen to $100 or more, depending on the size of the animal and whether or not you want to dispose of the body yourself, or if you want to have them dispose of the body or cremate the body or whatever. It can run up into the hundreds of dollars. And if you don't have it, you don't have it. We allowed our animals to die at home with the comfort of their family and their surroundings, and then we're buried at home as well. Um, so, uh, moving on, and since we don't have callers on the line, I don't know how active the last show was, so we were going to go ahead and continue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a demonstration of a reading. I do different kinds of readings. I do angel readings. I do spirit guide readings. I do mediumship also, and mediumship may or may not require cards. A lot of times it doesn't, and a lot of times other messages that I deliver won't require cards at all. I am in the middle of teaching a class on reading cards, and as a matter of fact, we have one more week, and then that class will be finished. But since it's a small class, we have a lot more time to sit and not only read the cards, but also to bring in messages from spirit. So what I would include with the readings is that we would lay out our cards. We knew who we were reading for because that was generally selected. We'll either pass to one direction or pass to another or across the table or however we're going to do readings. And when I asked my students, please get your cards ready, shuffle them, and you're going to pass them to the person that you are reading today. And mine instantly, my hands lit up, my body lit up with energy, my cards were lit up, and I knew exactly who I was to pass my cards to. I went, you're the one who needs the message, and I passed the cards to the right. And he went, oh no, because he knew that I would go into depth. And he knew that he was doing some things in his life he probably shouldn't be doing. He needed to change his lifestyle, and he's having some financial issues and other things going on in his life. And so he already knew what was coming. And it's just like, okay, I don't know how he had missed a class. I said, I don't know how your last 2 weeks have been. Don't tell me. And I have a feeling that there's going to be some important messages. So I let the other students do their readings first for whoever they were reading. And then mine came to read for this gentleman, and as he was doing a reading for somebody else, before I was doing my reading, I got up and I went over to help him, read his cards and how to do it in the right order, and make sure that he got the right messages through. And then as I went back to sit down, I sat down in the energy of the spirit that was there to convey the message that was to be with his reading. And then I made the comment when I sat down, I just sat down in somebody's energy. And my students are going, what? I said, when you get to the point where you are reading for other people and the message is very, very important and you're sensitive to the energy of spirit, then you will sit down in their energy if you had gotten up and moved around like I had just done, or they will step into body and you'll feel the energy. And sometimes you'll only feel it in your hands and sometimes in your arms and the cards, or sometimes you will get it full body. I get it full body usually. And so I passed the message to this gentleman as I laid out the cards, and I spread a whole nother spread on the side, and this was using tarot cards because it was a tarot card class. I use all kinds of cards. I have over 20 different decks. I usually put out about 6 at a time when I do professional reading, so I switch back and forth between decks. But with this one, it was a tarot deck, and I said, here's the classic layout. We're going to do that first, which is the past, the present, the future, and with all its little indications of time frames and what it's about, and then how to connect the cards at the end. And so I read the classical reading first, and then went over to the intuitive cards on the side, and the guy's just sitting there going, "Oh my God!" And he was getting a butt chewing out about his finances, about his health, about what he's been doing instead of doing what's important, and basically he needs to mature and grow up and a bunch of other things. They gave him a lot of details. So and at the very end he said, you were actually very dead on. You were right, and this is what has been happening during the week. At the end of a reading, I will let a person talk, and then what you do when you let a person talk is that they validate back what you have just said. And he says, yes, my friends have been influencing me to spend my money. Yes, my friends have been influencing me to do this and that. And I have not been paying attention to my weight. I've not been paying attention to my diet. I've been sick because of it, and so on and so forth. So what he did is he validated everything that was in the reading. So when I give a reading, I give it, and it's a spirit reading, which is what I'm going to be doing here in the future on the show is spirit readings. I will give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's what I teach people. I said, do not edit the messages when they come through. Do not be afraid to say what is being said to you. And if something is coming through that's an explicit description or cuss words or whatever you've got coming through, I usually will, okay, I'm going to apologize to you ahead of time, but this is what is being said. And especially if it's a person who has passed over or has not yet passed over but is dead but is stuck here, and they have a few things that they have to settle with the person before they can move on. And they will tell it like it is, with their personality, with their own words, and words that I have never used before have come through. I mean, long words, and very descriptive words, and then words that are cuss words also have come through. And like I said, I will apologize to a person when I'm hearing that stuff coming through. I'm going, okay, I'm apologizing first, but this is what the person is saying, and I'm not editing it. And sometimes they'll take it as humor, and sometimes they'll take it very seriously, and they'll go, yeah, that's exactly how that person talked. And I said, I will tell a person, the personality they had in life is not going to change in death. If that's the way they spoke, that's the way they're going to continue to speak while they are on the other side, until they go through their process of what they're going to be doing on the other side, and if they're going to go through reincarnation, blah, 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 and whatever their business is. But when they talk to friends or family members, they fall back into that pattern that they had in life, and they will speak that way. If they were very short with their conversation in life, they will be very short with it in the afterlife. If they were somebody who would give you a dissertation, they'll go on with a dissertation on the other side when a message does come through. So when I do a reading, sometimes I will let people ask a question, but it is not usually the way I do it. I will tell them I want no information. I don't want to know who you are or what you've done or blah, 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 because Spirit will give the information, and you will get what you need to hear. Not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And there's a big difference there, because sometimes people will come in with a big list of questions, and I'll go, fold up your questions, put them away in your pocket or your purse or whatever, and I'm going to let Spirit read for you. And then at the very end, you can take those questions out, go over your list. If there's something that was not answered, then you can ask it. Or if you need a little more detail on something that was said during the reading, you can do that as well. And it's very interesting when these types of readings are done. Sometimes I get the skeptics that will come in, and the skeptic will sit down and they'll want you to perform. And it's just like, okay, I'm not here to perform like a monkey. I'm not here to be challenged. But if you be silent for a minute, I am going to give you some information. And I will give them information. Their jaw will usually hit the ground, because whoever it is that's coming through, whether it's their angel, their spirit guide, somebody who's passed over, will tell them the truth, will tell it like it is, and may even chew their ass out. Okay, they may even get an ass chewing. And that's even with your own angels and spirit guides. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, they will chew you out. Some will be very polite about it, and some won't. And so it just depends on who's coming through. It can be funny sometimes. It's just like then I have to have a discussion with the person. Usually, it ends up going from a reading to a counseling session, especially if the person's going through a very hard time, or they've got a lot of issues and problems in their life, and spirit does pick it up, and it does come through the reading, and um, then afterwards, the person will verify what's going on, and then we go into a counseling session, sometimes into a healing session, into an energy session. So whatever needs to happen with that person, with that client who's come, and sometimes it ends up into a confession session. Sometimes it ends up into counseling about marriage, about family, relationship, finances, health, everything. So it kind of hits the gamut as to what is going on with people. And as I said, I do also the classic tarot. And my students, instead of getting a written test last night, we went through the entire deck because it's the end of the week. And we're going to be doing intuitive readings next week, to see where they are at with the cards. And it's just like, okay, what is it in this position? What is the symbolism? Where is it going? What is this person doing? Who is the reading for? Who's it affecting? And what is it in this position? Upright. So I make them learn them upright. I make them learn also upside down, and also multiple meanings. Okay, multiple meanings, and what the symbolism is like. This one is an 8 of Cups. This is an 8 of Cups, and you see this gentleman is walking away. Well, the cups represent everything he's done in his life, and then there's a cup missing. So what's missing in this person's life? Well, he's done all these accomplishments. He's had all of this taken care of in the physical life, and there's something missing. We have the moon and the stars combined up here. So that's not chaos, but it's the moon and the stars. It's the spiritual meaning. So this person is going and walking away from the life that he has because it's not bringing him happiness. It's not bringing him the fulfillment that he expected life to bring him. So he's going to go and seek something spiritual. When it is upside down, it becomes the wine, women, and song card, which means they are taking the pleasures of the physical life. Now, if the reading is going on and there are other cards that are affecting this, and there's an event or a situation, this could mean that a person is having to deal with the physical, having to deal with the finances, having to deal with health. It just depends on what other cards come up with it. So that's what a tarot card does, and there can be a lot of symbolism in a tarot card, and I try and tell people that too. And with the minor arcana, that deals with the physical life, the everyday life. With the court cards, which are the king, the queen, the page, and the knights, those are the cards that deal with other people in your life. And it could actually be you as well. It just depends on what the question is in the card and what we're doing with it. And then there you have your major arcana, and your major arcana has the name of the card on the bottom, which the other cards do not, and has the number at the top. So the name of the card, and I'll use this one as an example, and like I said, it has many meanings. As you see in this card, there's a person who's dressed in ritual garb, and there's a lot of symbolism of the Catholic Church in these, because that's the type of people that these catered to. These are the classic tarot, and this one is a pope, and they call it the Hierophant, and he does ritual for ritual's sake, not with his heart, but because ritual has to be done. He's traditional, he's by the book. Whereas the person, when it's upside down, is the person who it goes to the beat of their own drum. They do their own thing. They don't care what other people think. And they also can be an inventor, and sometimes by other people they are referred to as the odd one, the crackpot. So it depends on what it is. This person definitely doesn't go by the book when it's upside down. So teaching cards is with the classical cards, you learn the symbolism in the pictures and the symbolism in the meanings also. And they address everything from health to finances to pregnancy to relationships to your spiritual balance to the losses in life to the happiness in life to the successes in life. And each card is different. There's even a card in here that if you are thinking about purchasing a car, okay, or taking a trip, there's a card in here for that. There's also another card in there if you're intending on flying. And if it's upside down, you might want to consider finding another mode of transportation or looking for a different airline, because there'll be some issues. This is the Chariot. This is Mind Over Matters, the spiritual message, and it's also this is also if you're asking whether or not you should buy a car if it's upright. Yes, if it's upside down, no, because there's a lot of issues with that vehicle. So, and it's also good for travel or no travel, and whether or not you have the inner strength to do things, the mentality, the mind over matter piece. Okay, are you mentally strong in that area? So it's different types of things that are addressed with the tarot. And once you get the meanings, the upright and the reverse meanings, and like I said, a lot of it can be jolted by the symbolism in the card itself, and then you can also bring in the intuitive reading. You can bring in the reading as far as where the card falls if you're doing the classical. Is it the past card? Is 6 to 9 months ago? Is it 3 months ago? Is it 30 days ago? Is it within the last 3 days? Is it the probable future that you can change if you change something you're doing in your life? Is it the definite future that you can't change? It's going to happen because you've already done everything to get it to happen that way. Is it the fears? Are your fears justified? Are they unjustified? Is it other people's opinions? Is it the hope? Is it the hope justified or unjustified? Is it the outcome? Is it the cards that are the support information along the bottom if you're doing the Celtic block? Is it one of the other setups where they have past, present, and future? Is it a timeline setup? You can go out to about a year with a timeline setup. And one thing I will not answer is when am I going to die and how am I going to win the lottery? What are my numbers? I won't tell you those. First off, if I don't bring the death bad news to you. Usually, and I've discussed this on previous shows, somebody's boyfriend was told he was going to die by a certain age and he committed suicide. It's not that he died a natural death or anything. It's because he no longer wished to deal with the situations in life, and he had this in his mind that he was going to die by a certain age. So he took his life. So death is not something I will give you a date on or an age. I don't believe in doing that, because if a person like that person could have gotten some help or some counseling or whatever and dealt with his situation, he would not have committed suicide and he would have lived a longer life. So I won't do that. The other thing is lottery numbers. If I can't win the lottery, neither can you. The Spirit won't even tell me the numbers, though I do play every now and then. So that's a game of chance, a game of luck. Okay, so that's totally different. Then there's other types of cards that are the oracle cards that are out there, and there are various types of oracle cards. Anything that does not have the word tarot and has 78 cards, those are tarot, and they come in many shapes and sizes and forms. They're round, they're large cards, there's miniature cards, there's huge oversized cards, there's the transparent deck, which is you have to take several cards and layer them over each other, and then read the card with the stuff showing through from all the different cards. It's the transparency cards, and then you have the oracle cards. And oracle cards, easier to learn, mostly intuitive, and they may or may not have any words on them. They may not have symbols on them. They usually have some sort of artwork, and here's one. Artwork can be abstract. This one is abstract. This is a healing card. So then you go into the intuitive of what this person has to do with the healing. Is it their energy healing? Is it their physical body? Is their mental? Their emotional? What is the piece that needs healing? Are they somebody who needs to be patient? This is also a pregnancy card. This is also a cycle card. So you have to read into it. If you're reading a guy, he's not going to be pregnant. Somebody in his life might be. He might be going through a cycle where he just has to be patient. So that's the way that is read. And the letting go card. The letting go can be anything. It could be physical, emotional, spiritual, anything. So I see we do have one person on the line. And go ahead, Renee.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. Hold on a second. Let me lower my volume. Oh, wow. Yeah, my speakers are at 74%. Let's bring that down a little bit. Okay, now I can hear you. And what can I do for you today?
You can give me a spirit reading, whatever comes up.
Okay. Let's see what they have. Oh, and they're asking that I bring out a huge deck. This is a huge deck. It's called the Crystal Deck. This is an oracle card deck. And so I will, since I'm explaining cards today, and I have the time, I will explain to people what's going on with these decks and what they are. So with you, the card that first comes up for you is love. So it's that you have a very loving and very giving heart, and you are willing to give to others even though they always don't seem to reciprocate, don't expect them to, and just hold that love and hold that space in your heart for them. And with that, that will give you prosperity, and the next card is prosperity. It will give you prosperity in other areas of your life. Prosperity and abundance are two different things, but they're not always material wealth or material goods, and a lot of people seem to associate that with money, but it can be other things in your life. They're saying that you need to take care of your inner child, and that inner child of yours needs to be nurtured as much as you love to nurture other people and love to do for other people. And once you do that, you're going to find that you're going to have a new beginning, and the new beginning is going to come forward so that you can spend time nurturing not only yourself but other things around you, whether it be plants, whether it be animals, whether it be other people, or just giving them time. And that's all nurturing as well. They say that you need to move through your life like the wind, and the wind, when it hits a wall, it flows either up or it'll flow down, or it'll go around whatever that obstacle is. So that you need to live your life as you were the wind. And the wind is very, very powerful. So is water, very powerful. And it can carve the hardest stone, and it can move the biggest ocean. So be the wind. And they're changing decks with me here. It's another oracle card deck, and this one is Osho Zen, and it says that you should turn in to within yourself to communicate with spirit, spend time there, listen to your angels and your guides, or just feel the energy, show them the love, and show them. I'll tell you what I do with mine. Not only do I give them a meditation in the morning where I acknowledge all of them and what they're doing with me and invite them into my day, and then I also tell them what I've got planned, what I've got going on, and whether or not I'm going to be flexible. And I'm always flexible because things always happen. And you can feel the energy and the love and the blessings that come back when that happens, when you include them. And I include them in everything. And not just finding parking spots. I include them in everything. And so they include me. And also when I'm with other people who are of like mind, they will also they will also come through with their energy. And if there's a message or something, and I'm not using cards, I'm just out somewhere with friends or family or whoever it is, or with students, because I always don't teach card classes. I teach a lot of other things as well. And if spirit is deciding that they are going to come in and share the time and move through the room, sometimes other people can also feel the love, feel the energy that comes into the room. And they're saying that ask for their presence, ask for their energy. They will help with clearing. They will help with healing. They will help you emotionally. And sometimes you will have, your body will react with awe. And sometimes tears are a piece of that when they show their love in a great way. And sometimes we involuntarily will cry. It's okay. It's a release, and it's a reaction of the body to the energy, and some very, very personal moments with spirit. And they're saying that they would like you to spend more time with them. And the next card is alone, and so they're wanting that to be alone time, meditation or talking with spirit. I usually do it first thing in the morning, and then before I go to bed at night, and any time in between when it's necessary. They said don't fall into a pattern of conditioning. Know that if you forget, it's okay. If you pick up a conversation with spirit at any time, that's okay. It doesn't have to really follow a pattern. If you have a pattern, that is your own pattern, and that's between you and spirit, because they are your real lovers. They are the ones who feel the love in your heart, and hope that you feel theirs as well. And they say they know you have a lot of dreams, they know you have a lot of goals, and they would like to participate in that with you if you will allow it. A lot of people don't allow spirit to participate, and then they wonder why things don't happen as quickly as they do. If you want changes in your life and you want spirit to be involved in it, then you have to let them know so that they can step up and be there and do that. Instead of just in emergencies, they're saying just allow it to happen during your everyday life. It's like today, we started the show later. They asked me, let's go to a movie. I just went through, seriously, you're kidding, right? But I had done everything I needed to do hours ago. And if you've listened to any of my really old archives, they go to the movies with me. They like to enjoy the popcorn, watch the movies, and you can feel the presence there. So we went and saw Mission Impossible. So... and they like action films. At least mine do. I don't know about other people's, but they will argue about everything from the topping on the popcorn to which movie we're going to see, and usually have to take a general consensus. So, okay. So that's what I have for you today.
Well, I'll tell you, I just said the other day, I have to move my life like the wind. That somebody was listening to me, and I will definitely include them in my decisions and much more in my life now. And when I go to the movies, if nobody wants to go, then I'll say, okay, guys, get ready. We're going.
Yeah. They go with me everywhere, and a lot of times they're silent. You can just feel the energy, and other times they get very bossy. Especially when we have popcorn toppings here that you can put on, and yeah, they get rather bossy about that. And they have a sweet tooth.
Yes,
it's like
they
definitely have a sweet tooth. Yeah, they want what they want. And yesterday they wanted ice cream. They didn't get it. I said we went down and we saw a movie at a church a few days ago, and they served root beer floats. You got your ice cream then. We're not doing it today. I'm on a diet.
Oh, I love root beer floats. I used to have them when I was little, and that's all was the ice cream because I had root beer. Oh, mine probably like some action films too, and other stuff because I used to like Mission Impossible too. So they would say, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah, and I've got the group that likes the horror films, and I've got the group that likes the films that have to do with like paranormal stuff, and so it's just like it depends on who you've got with you, and I find that some of the spirits that are more tender and not exposed to those kinds of things, you can feel them shaking in certain films, and it's just like, well, you don't have to be here, but you can hold my hand, whatever. So yeah, I just don't do slasher films, but other than that,
I like films. I would be looking when I saw one years ago, and I remember the exact one, Straight Jacket. We walked by railroad tracks. I kept looking. I think I was 10 or 12, and no, I was older, 13. And when I went in, I looked under the bed. I looked in the closet. I said, I will never watch this again with Joan Crawford.
Yeah. Okay. And so thank you for calling, Renee.
Oh, thank you, and many blessings to you and all your guys. I love you a lot. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And if anybody else wants to call in, that's fine. Spirit usually has something to say. Actually, almost always. I have had times where Spirit doesn't want to say anything, and it's just like, okay, where I'll even try and spread a deck. And a deck will usually spread very evenly, and except for when they don't want to say anything. And I will stop, and then I will have to intuitively just feel the energy, because the deck is not spreading. It stays stacked. And by stacked, I mean like this. If you're watching the video, stacked. It will not come apart. It will not spread. And there's usually a reason for it. It's like, they've got nothing to say, and then two, I will sit and I'll hold the deck, and it'll just, the energy of the spirit will come through, and then the message will come through that way, and not including the cards at all. And it just depends on how Spirit wishes to communicate. Not all of them wish to communicate using cards. Not all of them wish to communicate using my voice. Not all of them wish to communicate verbally. Sometimes it's energetic, and I'll ask a person, may I hold your hands? May I come over and put my hands on your shoulders? Whatever it is. And then just let the energy flow, because it's not my energy, it's Spirit's energy, and then they do what they have to do. And the person will usually react to that. If it's a healing, it will sometimes stop pain. It'll remove stagnant energy, or energy that belongs to other people. Or it will, it will comfort a person. If a person has a lot of stress, if they have a lot of other things going on. And so, yeah, it just depends on the Spirit and what the Spirit wants to do. Okay, I see that we have, let's see, let me make sure that I've got the right box here for the Inquicks, and the right time. Okay, these look like the old ones. Yeah, some of these things go in one direction and some of them go in the other, and I have to sit here and manually go down. Okay, here we have one from Marge, and she says, hi, Nancy. I would like a reading regarding my work path. Thank you so much. Okay, so your work path, and they're reaching for a tarot deck. They're reaching for a tarot deck. Okay, and it's not spreading smoothly, but this deck usually doesn't spread smoothly unless it's on velvet, because it's my oldest deck. I've had this deck for about 12 years, and it is my tarot deck, and I have not replaced it, even though I do have a couple other decks, but the other decks are for student use if they forget their own deck for a class. Okay, so you're asking regarding your work path. Well, they're saying regarding your work path, the first card is a major arcana card, and it has a spiritual message as well as the message is what to do about a situation. First off, they're saying that you really need to take a good look at what you really love to do, because this is the Lover's card. And in this card, and I'll explain this card, this is the major arcana. This is where the man looks to the woman and the woman looks to the angel. This is the conscious looking to the subconscious, which looks to the higher self. So they're saying if you want to do something with your work path. You need to stop, go within yourself, and you need to really look at what your passion is, figure out how to take steps to do that. If you look at it and this is what you want to do, and if everything is in alignment for you to move along that path, whether it's to change something you're already doing or to do something entirely different, you need to have happiness in that, and you need to have passion. If it's not passionate for you, it's not the right job. Okay? I also, since they're telling you to look into your higher self, that connects into all your spirit guides, your angels, source, God, whoever it is that you believe in, and you tell them to assist you, to open doors, to make things happen. And I recently did that, where I was, I had been working at a church for a couple of years where I was teaching classes, and then all of a sudden they hired somebody else. They switched over management, they switched over board members, and even though I had submitted my schedules, my classes and stuff that I teach, on 2 occasions over a period of 4 months, they did not respond, and I noticed that they hired somebody else. And when I went to an event this last weekend, the one where I had the root beer float, the first thing a person did is they came over and they introduced themselves. Hello, I'm on the education committee. Why have we not received your list of classes? I said, I have sent them in twice, and I know that you've had turnover. And she said, well, we went and hired somebody else. Well, for one, it was for a tarot class, and which kind of inside I'm kind of relieved because I just finished teaching 4 tarot classes in a row. I'm ready to move on. I teach over 20 different classes. So I said, I will send you the list, and they got the list, and now they're scheduling for the fall, and they are interested in some of the other things that I teach, some of my other passions. So ask Spirit to open the doors. If the time is not right, ask them to work things out. So what they did with me is they urged me to go into this crystal presentation this last week, and the person that needed to talk to me walked up to me and asked me for my schedule. So I will be teaching again, but it will not be the same class that they've been having me teach over and over and over again. So what they did is they made an offer. So ask Spirit to participate with you on your work path, the changes that you need. And sometimes it can be frustrating. I had to wait those months and not get any response back. And what happened was Spirit made the arrangement. I needed to be in a certain place at a certain time, and the person that needed to talk to me did. So, and they made an offer, and that's what you need to look at too. You also need to make the inquiries. You need to take the action, and I took the action on several occasions. And so sometimes you have to take it more than once. It doesn't always mean no. It just means the time is not right, and then an offer comes forward. So, if you're looking to change or increase what it is that you're doing in your work path, you need to step up, take the action. If you want that to manifest, ask Spirit to help you as well. Okay, I have a call on line 2 from Nina.
Yes.
Hello,
Hi.
Nina. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. What can I do for you today?
Actually, I would like just a reading, whichever way you're guided to give me a reading.
Okay. And they're looking at 2 different decks. They're going to bring one out first, and it's not the tarot, it's the oracle cards. And let's see what they have to say. Okay. They say that you are seeking to have harmony in your life, and with that harmony, you want to do, and the words that are coming through, even though the card says new vision, the words that are coming through is that you want a do-over, you want a reinvention of what you are doing and where you are going in life. And sometimes that's what we need to do. We've had to do a sudden all-over change of something in our life in order to move on, to keep surviving. I've had to do that many, many times, reinventing yourself. They're saying that meditation is something that you should really get into, because and whether or not you do it already, because it's going to get intense. It's going to get intense. It's not going to be just this, we're going to sit here and fidget and wait for something to happen. If you talk to Spirit, Spirit will respond. So they're saying it will get intense. You will get some answers out of that meditation. I know I do. I get visions, or I'll get a conversation that goes two ways suddenly. And what they'll do is they'll help you with some of the burdens that you've been carrying around on your back for a while. And they say that there are some creative solutions as to how to deal with those things. So you don't always have to feel like you're the outsider. And they're going to switch to that other deck that I said that they were going to switch to. And they're saying you need to look at what's going on with family, and be careful when you do that, because if you bring up past issues, that could be very dangerous for you. It's basically, they're saying if you're going to deal with family, deal with the here and now and look towards the future. Don't go back towards the past, because past is done and over with. It's not to be looked at again. And they said that you need to move on. Okay, you need to move on with things. It can get crazy sometimes, but things need to change, the transformation card, so that you can get on with the good things in life and cut through a lot of the crap that's been going on. And don't let anybody treat you any less than what you should be. And they're calling you a goddess. They said, think of yourself as a goddess. Don't let anybody treat you any worse than that. They said that you are here on the earth for a certain amount of time, but so are they. So burn through the garbage and just let things go, because otherwise it's just going to cause you a lot of stress and a lot of tension, and you actually need to pull away from those things. Seek a place of quiet and give yourself some asylum, some time to get away from it all and get away from all of that. And they said everything is temporary, including stressful periods in your life. So go be calm, and nurture yourself. The card is Mother's Milk, so nurture yourself and get away into nature and work through the issues that you have going on. Okay, that's what they've got.
Because it's funny you said meditation, because I know I need to meditate, but I can't quiet my mind down enough to meditate. And I have practice. I have books. I have CDs. I listen to radio, different speakers. And it's just so hard for me to meditate. So I went to the next step. I even made a small meditation altar in the corner of in one of my rooms. I made it, but I haven't used it yet.
Okay, meditation. Let me tell you about meditation. I don't sit with my legs folded in some uncomfortable position. I am flat on my back, okay?
Okay.
And I don't use music or anything, but I'm flat on my back usually. And I just, my mind doesn't shut up, and Spirit told me that a long time ago. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to have a conversation with you instead. And if my mind wanders off to other things, it'll come back when I realize that I'm wandering off into other things. I said, you know where the off button is if you want to talk back to me, and they do. If you want to talk back to me, you hit the off button, because I don't know where it is in my brain, but you know where it is. And they will shut it off, and then I'll either get the visions, I'll hear what they're saying, I'll feel the energy, or whatever it is. There are other ways to meditate. There is moving meditation, where I used to mall walk a lot, and just in the process of walking, and I leave the purse in the car locked up, so I'm not tempted to go into the stores. I would just walk the mall, and as you are walking, it raises your energy, and it also opens the channels to Spirit. Okay, try a walking meditation. Try something else. It doesn't have to be in the house. It can be out in nature. It can be listening to music. One of the things that they use, and I listen to contemporary pop and rock, and blaring in the car, and they used to use that a lot as to because I would be focusing on the music. When I would just focus on that instead of the rest of the world of what was going on, then and it wasn't meditation music. I can't stand meditation music. I'm sorry, but it's like then you could feel the presence, then you could feel the opening, you could feel the energy, and then they would also want to sing. So it's just like, okay. And so sometimes when you meditate, you'll hear music that you haven't heard in years, and it's because they like to sing as well, but that's how sometimes they will pass a message to you. So don't worry about not being able to shut up when you meditate. Okay. Just open a conversation with them about your day, about what's happening, about what you're concerned about, what you're going to do for the day, and they listen. And when they want to talk back to you, they'll shut up. They'll shut you up. They'll hit that silence button.
Okay. Because I have been walking. I've been walking. I try to walk every day, about an hour a day, out at a park close to my house.
Right.
But, okay, it's good to know.
Okay, yeah, and that actually, when you're focusing on the walk and sometimes focusing on nature and stuff. When I have done the walks outside, I will get a visit from a butterfly, from a hummingbird, whatever. I've even had a dragonfly come up right in front of my face and hover, and they actually make noise, and so do hummingbirds. They actually chirp.
Yes.
So
right.
It's just like, okay, then you've got all this other stuff going on, and that's actually a communication as well. So if you're walking outside, you're putting the communication up to the nature spirits and whatever else is out there. So, yeah, it's a good way to go.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking my call.
All right.
And it helped.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again.
You're welcome. We have another in-quick from Murphy. Murphy is looking for a spirit reading. And again, they're giving me, they love the Osho Zen deck today for some reason. I've got 5 decks out here, actually 6. And they're picking their favorites. So it depends on who's reading. Okay, so Murphy, they say stop making comparisons and don't worry about life being ordinary sometimes, because that's what life is we live in the world. We live in the ordinary life. It's not all out in the spotlight. It's not all being the center of attention. Sometimes we have sorrow, and it's okay. It's what helps us get through whatever is going on in our life at the time. And once we get through that period of sorrow, we can move into a period of life where things change and we break through because we've let go, letting go. And don't let anybody tell you it has to be within a certain time frame, a certain time period. And don't allow others to suppress you. And by suppressing means don't allow them to pressure you into doing things a certain way within a certain time frame, because you have your own time frame. We have our own way of dealing with life and what it throws us. And you're a person who, when you get into a mode, you give yourself totally into it, and then you are willing to share what it is. It's like you become like a child that's excited about a discovery, and you have to share the information. It's like, can't keep it a secret, got to tell at least one person, get one person to listen to you, and know that others are going to want to do the same with you at some point in time. So don't be a miser with your stories. Tell your story. Share what you have. There's been a lot of postponement in life that you've had to put things off. Now is the time to move forward, move out of that postponement. Go ahead and have the adventures that you've been wanting to have, whether it's travel or just doing something different in your life. Don't let anyone slow you down. And sometimes we're the cause that slows ourselves down. It's time for some changes to happen. It's time for things to take place in your life. And it's also time to move away from the politics. The politics can actually cause confrontation. And it can be family politics, it can be religious politics, it can be actual politics and government. Well, whatever it is, know that if you're dealing with the politics of life, and the people that you are dealing with, you've got to understand that they've got one face they show you and one face they show everybody else. That's what they're saying. So you have to deal with that. And when you have to deal with that, if you're going to get into the thick of things, you have to have some discernment as to what's right, what's not right. So stop and think about what's being said to you and what's true and what isn't true, and go out and do your own research. Go out and do your own research. Just don't accept what's being handed to you. Take a good look at what's there. Okay, the next card is the Rose Garden. That's the Angels card. They're saying that a lot that's being presented to you is being disguised, and they're showing a burqa. They're showing a lot of it is being disguised. A lot is being hidden from you, and sometimes it tends to put you in the hot seat, and the hot seat is where others are questioning you and what you're doing. So take and whatever is precious to you. The next card is the Isle of Jewels. What is precious to you, and protect that, defend that. And know that you are going to start going into a cycle of time that is a good cycle, a good period of time. So take the leap, jump off the deep end, and take the risk. And that's all I have today, and hopefully I will see you all again next week.